Welcome to Beyond the Broadsheet, a podcast by the Lincoln County News. We are a community newspaper based in Midcoast, Maine, and provide the most comprehensive, in-depth coverage available anywhere of the 18 towns and one plantation that make up Lincoln County. My name is Claire Taylor, and I'm a reporter here at LCN, covering the towns of Waldoboro, Somerville, and Jefferson.
And my name is Christina Wallace. I'm also a reporter here at LCN, covering the towns of Bristol, South Bristol, Bremen, and Noblesboro.
In our last episode, Lucas McNally and Mick LaBelle gave a wrap-up of fall sports. In this episode, they will be discussing the upcoming basketball season here in Lincoln County. But first, here are our top stories from the Thursday, December 4th edition of the paper.
In some Bristol news, Johns Bay Coastal Alliance Committee met for the first time on Wednesday, November 19th, after the Bristol and South Bristol school committees unanimously voted earlier that month to leave AOS 93 and form a two-town education service center. During the meeting, the committee elected officers and discussed their transition plan for leaving AOS 93. Christian Coates, a member of the South Bristol School Committee, was unanimously elected as the committee's chair. Catherine Thompson, a member of the Bristol School Committee, was unanimously elected as the vice chair of the committee. Jonathan Swall, a member of the South Bristol School Committee, was unanimously elected as treasurer. South Bristol School Committee Chair Sarah Mitchell brought up that since Swall's term on the school committee will expire in March of 2026, there may be some job overlap with anyone interested in taking on the position after Swall leaves. AOS 93 Director of Finance and Operations Peter Nielsen discussed loose ends that need to be wrapped up by Bristol and South Bristol before they leave the AOS in June, such as a transfer of school records and licenses for Aptifund, which is the software that AOS 93 uses for finance and business purposes. Hiring will be one of the next steps for Johns Bay Coastal Alliance Committee. An executive director, superintendent/curriculum coordinator, finance clerk, administrative assistant, and special education director will all need to be hired for the Education Service Center. The next meeting of Johns Bay Coastal Alliance will take place at 5:30 p.m. on Monday, December 8th at Bristol Consolidated School. So good first step for them moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. In news out of Wiscasset, residents and town officials wrestled over the definition of the word recent during a public hearing on the subject hosted by the Wiscasset Planning Board on Monday, November 24th. The board proposed setting a standard interpretation of the word as 6 months, with the aim of getting fully up-to-date site surveys from applicants. Members of the public, as well as several town officials, pushed back against that interpretation. Wiscasset Select Board Chair Sarah Whitfield and Wiscasset Economic Development Director Aaron Krasowski both spoke in the public hearing to raise concerns around the proposed policy's impacts on residents and businesses. Whitfield said, "We are fully supportive of defining the term recent in the ordinance itself, where definitions properly belong. We will be asking the Ordinance Review Committee to take up this work to ensure clarity, fairness, and consistency moving forward." End quote. The Planning Board voted unanimously to table the issue until it is reviewed by the Select Board.
In some holiday news, the 9th annual Villages of Light celebration took place in Damariscotta and Newcastle on Saturday, November 29th. The day started with a meet and greet with Santa at the Lincoln Theater, where around 50 families gathered to read him their Christmas lists. Damariscotta Region Chamber of Commerce Operations Manager Claire Sommer and Executive Director Ann Rundle greeted visitors with cocoa and cookies as they awaited the big man's arrival. Later that evening, the annual parade entered Main Street at dusk. Opening the parade were the granddaughters of Diane D. Sylar, to whom the parade was dedicated. Santa followed shortly after, riding on the back of the Damariscotta Fire Department's ladder truck while waving to onlookers. Other floats included a decked-out light display from the Pemaquid Mermaids, a float from Colby and Gale inspired by the 1964 movie Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, a live nativity scene from Twin Villages Church in Damariscotta, and a float by Seaside Princess Parties of Bristol featuring the Disney-type princesses Rapunzel, Elsa, and Anna. The Grinch also made an appearance riding into town on a motorcycle while dragging a Christmas tree behind him. So we both got to cover this. We did some dual coverage on this. So Claire covered the meet and greet with Santa and I did the parade. So what was the meet and greet like?
It was so charming. It was really sweet. It was just so lovely to see all the kids so excited to meet Santa and Santa so excited to meet the kids. And it was just a really lovely, like, heartwarming holiday moment. So,
what was maybe the most common gift asked for?
there were a decent amount of Legos requested, a lot of Labubus are, I think, the big trend that I was seeing. But,
for sure. It definitely sounds like a good time. You guys have to check out the photos in the paper and online because they turned out so good. There's a very cute photo on the front of the paper of a little girl running up to Santa. So
it was a very sweet moment.
Yeah. The parade was very cold, but it was a very good time. And I definitely enjoyed seeing all the lights and the Christmas music and downtown Main Street or downtown Damariscotta in Newcastle. That Main Street there is just decked out with Christmas decorations. So it was very fun to be a part of that.
Absolutely. Well, in some other heartwarming news, kitten yoga at the Live from Love Center made for a perfect afternoon, if you will. The Live from Love Center in Bremen hosted a kitten yoga event on Sunday, November 30th. The event was made possible by a combined effort between the center and Midcoast Humane, with all proceeds going to assist the shelter in its mission to protect and care for animals in need. Throughout the class, Jessica Amsden, steward of Live from Love Center, made ties between yoga philosophies and the kitten's behaviors, encouraging participants to tune into their own playful and peaceful kitten-like instincts. Jackie Ferlito, community engagement manager at Midcoast Humane, helped manage the event and was in attendance on November 30th to help wrangle the curious kittens as they explored the studio. Ferlito said Midcoast Humane's goal is to get animals out of the shelter and into good homes as quickly as possible. As much as we make the shelter a welcoming environment, it's really a core of our philosophy that it's still confinement, and confinement is tough on anything, Ferlito said. All of the kittens at the event found homes.
That is so sweet.
It was really cute. It was quite lovely and just a very peaceful, lovely Sunday afternoon.
I love yoga, but I feel like I would be way too distracted by kittens running around to like really focus on it.
It was very fun to see the balance of how people did interpret that of like, okay, this is a time to meet kittens and it's also a time to, take space and time for yourself. And it was lovely to see both.
That's very sweet. In some news out of Edgecombe, the Edgecombe Select Board authorized the purchase of a new fire truck for the town and discussed the next steps for dealing with the town's recently discovered sailboat at their meeting on Tuesday, November 25th. After driving over 2,900 miles and looking at 7 listed fire trucks, Edgecombe Fire Chief Roy Potter said he found a 2005 pumper in Michigan worth adding to the town's fleet. Potter has been searching for a new truck for several months. In September, board member Forrest Carver said some of the trucks had not started during 3 emergencies. Board members authorized Potter to spend up to $75,000 from the Fire Truck Reserve Fund for the purchase and shipping costs. In other news, the town's boat has made a return. The sailboat, which was abandoned and became town property early this year, was reported missing by Harbor Master Terry Stockwell on July 22nd. Instead of washing up in Edgecombe, Stockwell said the vessel reappeared on a Woolwich mudflat. The boat will need to be removed by the town since the town still has ownership of the boat. So we will see what happens there.
Yeah. All right. Our character of the county this week is Jim Gallagher, a good man in a good place. Now 75, Jim Gallagher is leaning into retirement. He lives in the house he grew up in on the Bristol Road in Damariscotta, which he shares with his beloved wife of 55 years, Barbara, and their youngest son, JJ. 3 of the Gallaghers' 4 children live nearby, and the children have collectively blessed the couple with 8 grandchildren. Life is good, Gallagher said, acknowledging he put the time in earlier in his career to reap the benefits now. To learn more about Jim Gallagher, pick up a copy of this week's edition of the Lincoln County News or go to lcnme.com. And now, here is Lucas McNally and Mick LaBelle with a basketball preview.
Okay, we're here to talk the basketball season. Lucas McNally here, editor and person behind MaineBasketballRankings.com, with Mick LaBelle, our sports reporter, who is already been on the road, already been driving through the snow to get you all the information you need on the upcoming high school basketball season, also known as the most wonderful time of the year.
And the coldest time of year.
And the coldest time of the year.
Last night.
Yeah, we're recording this Friday afternoon, and whew, last night was cold.
Yeah, it just dropped 20 degrees between when I left for the Wiscasset games in Richmond and when I got home.
All right, you want to start with the Wiscasset games in Richmond?
Yeah, that was a really fun way to kick off the season. The scrappy Wiscasset Wolverines girls put up a really good fight and then lost with 4 seconds left, 32-30 to Richmond.
Oh,
yeah,
that's rough.
It's rough, but it's also very encouraging. For one, they put up 30 points, which is possibly more than they scored in any game last year. I'll have to take a look at that.
They averaged, because I wrote this down, they averaged 22 last year.
Yeah, so they probably they must have eclipsed 30, but it was a good start. They were up 12-11 at halftime, and so the second half was much more exciting from a scoring perspective.
Cool.
For both teams. So, good start for Wiscasset.
We should just say that from where Wiscasset has come as of like 3 or 4 years ago, getting within 2 points of anybody is a monumental improvement.
It definitely is. Yeah, last year they broke the 122 game losing streak.
That went back to the Obama administration.
Yeah,
which
it was
it was a different time.
It was.
Actually, what we should start off with is the thing. If you're a casual basketball fan and you're just sort of showing up for the games and maybe the tournament, you should know is that the entire state is reclassified. And if you're at preseason games, the big topic of conversation is what class is this team that I'm watching playing in this year? And the answer is that nobody knows. But so basically the short version is there's the under. We're still technically at 5 classes. There's the under 100. So if there's any school with under 100 students, they're in class S, which is S for small. Why it's not E for the letter after D, no one knows that either. And then everybody else is split up into A, B, C, D. So there's no more double A, which was this weird abomination that nobody liked, where the top 16 teams were sort of sequestered over here and automatically made the playoffs, and it was a terrible idea, and good riddance to it. But we'll stay to keep the opinions out of this, right? And so what you've got is you've got these bigger A's and B's, which will remind old folks or older folks of what it was like before the 5-class system, where A and B are just brutal. C is kind of half of the old last year's B and half of last year's C. And then D is mostly last year's C with some fringe stuff from B. Or what did I say? D is most of last year's D, or C with a little bit of D and a little bit of, whatever. So it's very different, and it's going to make for a very, very interesting regular season and some really good tournaments. Like A South Girls is just a nightmare if you're trying to come out of there, which does not impact any team that we're covering locally, but it's just to set the stage for where we are.
Yeah, I think as far as reclassification, the only team that got directly affected is Booth Bay went from Class C South to Class D South.
But they are playing most of the same teams.
It is.
That they were
In fact,
up against.
their schedule is almost exact
Yeah.
to last season. So really, I guess only at the time it comes to tallying your heel points and where you compare against other schools and where that comes into play, really.
The other difference is Wiscasset stays in D, but D moved up.
Yes,
So
I
they
see.
effectively move up.
Yeah.
if you want to look at it that way, where Booth Bay sort of stays where they are, Wiscasset definitely moves up because they're no longer with those under 100 schools where they were able to get a good number of wins last year. At least the boys were.
But you know what is funny, and that is true, what you say. But their schedule is almost
Is it still those
the
schools?
same. Yeah.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. So I think, again, when it comes time to comparing them to other heel points, because their schedule will be weaker, softer,
100%.
with the Vinyl Havens. And I'm not sure. I have to look at
Well, they won't have North
if they
Haven because
went
North
down
Haven's not
to.
playing.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, North Haven opted out. They didn't have enough kids.
Oh, that's too bad.
That happened, I want to say last week.
Yeah. Huh.
The trick for Wiscasset is, let's say they go 11-8 again, and those 11 wins are all against under 100 schools. When they get to the tournament against the rest of D, historically speaking, that doesn't go well.
Yeah.
Not just for them, just for anybody around the state. You see that a lot, like in the county. If you see, a Central or Rustic one year just had a great record because they beat a lot of D schools, and they were the 1 seed in C, both girls and boys C, and they both lost in the quarterfinals, which is a long way to drive to Bangor to lose in the quarterfinals as a 1 seed, both teams, and then you have to drive home.
Yeah. And I'm looking at their at the boys' Wiscasset schedule, and it is essentially the same as last year. So it will come down to
Do they have Morse again?
That's actually, so their schedule's softer because I do not see.
They don't have Morse. That weird Morse game.
That was odd.
Okay.
Maybe now that they're in D and Morse is in. Did they move up?
Morse, I believe, is in B.
There's B. Yeah.
Yeah, I have it on my computer.
Yeah. So
and I keep having to check it.
They did away with that. It was quite lopsided, as I recall.
That was a strange game.
Yeah.
That was one of those games where, like, this is an exhibition, right? No, no, it's not. Okay.
Well, speaking of the schedules, the one thing I'm disappointed in is that Booth Bay does not play Wiscasset.
This doesn't make any sense to me
No.
because they co-op. They're very close to each other. I'm not sure why they're not playing each other unless it's a conference thing.
Yeah, that could be.
I'm on record as
MVC,
saying that conferences should not be
Mountain Valley.
allowed to close their schedule, but
Yeah, that's the only thing I can think of because both teams, it looks like, went with their same schedule as last year. Mm-hmm. So they were in
the
Class
East-West
C,
Conference
and they
might
were-
be closed. I wouldn't be
Yeah.
surprised if the East-West Conference is closed.
Yeah, could be.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, they don't play each other. They were set up to play in a preseason scrimmage the other night when it snowed, and they canceled Tuesday.
And they got blizzarded out.
Yeah, they got blizzarded out. Unfortunately, I was looking forward to that.
Well, here's my question for you. There's news from the county, because there's always news from the county, that 3 schools are looking to co-op, are not looking to co-op. They might consolidate. It's very early stages, but it's Caribou, Presque Isle, and Fort Kent, which would make it the 6th largest school in the state up in the county. And then my question is, who are they going to play? Because
Wow.
you can get Brewer Hamden.
road trip.
Yeah, Brewer Hamden, Bangor. You can get those 3 games. There are 6 games if you, and then you get 12 games to fill, and it's already 3 hours to Bangor. You're not going to play any of the Big East schools. Your Oronos, your Hermans, Foxcrofts, and they're not going to want any part of that. You're not going to be able to play anyone in the county. You're not going to be able to play Washington County because they won't play you.
Canada.
So you're going to maybe.
Who's over the border?
Don't know. You're going to have to go to like Messalonskee and like Oxford Hills.
Jeez.
And Lewiston and
That's
Edward
5
Little.
hours.
Yeah. And
Not to mention the expense on the bus drivers and the fuel. We ran into that in girls lacrosse. We had to go to Holton.
But you did that on the weekend.
We did, yeah.
Yeah. So, but who are they going to play on a Tuesday when they have school the next day?
Yeah, right.
Like, I'm not sure. I don't know if they've thought that part of this through. So then my question for them is maybe you could do the reverse of a co-op where you keep the Caribou and Presque Isle teams separate, but they go to the same school. I don't know if you can do that, which is leading to me to, is there any thought of Wiscasset and Booth Bay co-oping in basketball? Because they co-op in everything else, or is the tradition of Booth Bay basketball too strong for that?
I think it's the tradition. I mean, even Wiscasset basketball has a proud tradition. It's been a while, but 10, 15 years ago,
Back when Maine
they were
Yankee
a
was there.
force. Yeah. So I find that a great question because other sports they have co-opt in
It
track
teams-
and cross country.
it
Yeah, the
seems
most
teams
obvious,
just
but
everywhere.
football too.
Everywhere seems teams are less likely to co-op basketball than any other sport. And
Baseball too. It seems like baseball,
baseball?
and basketball
Okay.
maybe.
Yeah, is it just because there's such a strong tradition and it's easier to get players for that?
I think so.
Okay.
I do because probably youth basketball and youth baseball and youth soccer, I guess, would be the third biggest as far as like
Yeah.
culture and number of kids playing and things like that. So
All right.
those are probably all programs that are rarely going to co-op. In fact, I don't know any soccer teams if they're.
Are
that have done
Wiscasset and
that.
Booth Bay
Well, I guess so.
co-oping?
Yeah, that's for
In
their
soccer?
8-man. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's.
Good question.
While
Very
we're
good
on
point.
Wiscasset, let's hit Wiscasset. Let's start with the girls. 2-16 last year. They were a negative 459 in scoring differential, which was second to last in Class D. You wrote a great story. I think you won an award, right, for your story about their win, their first win since the Obama administration.
Yeah, I made the boat ride over to Islesboro.
You
so I
made the
got lucky.
wise choice
I did. I predicted
to
that.
pitch the boat ride story,
Yep.
and it paid off for you.
Yeah, I had a feeling that they were knocking on the door, and Islesboro was ready to open that door. And they did,
So what's
thankfully
the
for everybody.
so what's the you've seen them and you saw them last year. What's the level of improvement?
Significant. Yep, I do think that they'll win more games than 2.
Okay.
I'm going to put it around the 5 or 6 mark.
Okay.
Just being realistic.
Should I write this down?
Well, it's recorded forever.
That's true, recorded forever, but I won't listen to it. I'll just write it. Let me grab a pen.
But yeah, I think their improvement on defense was apparent last night against Richmond, who did have a couple of tall, decent players that they were able to shut down for most of the game until the end, where they got them on the rebounding. So weakness definitely will be rebounding. They're not a very big team. They're not a very old team. Quite young. I think they have just one senior. So they're just going to continue to improve. They have a good ball handler in Trixie.
Trixie's a great
Trixie
name for
Loyola.
a point guard.
Yeah.
You know?
And she is a Trixie. She's quick and likes to shoot. So she's going at the basket a lot more aggressively as a sophomore now. She was a freshman last year. Not a very tall player, but makes up for it in spirit and speed and quickness.
And
So-
tricks.
And
Ball handling tricks.
Yeah, she's a good ball handler. Jessie Reinbold is also a good ball handler. She's back again this year as a junior. Another good athlete from their soccer team. And they have a new coach in Dana Lawrence, who's... It was quite obvious that they put some good work in, and that they're getting some fundamentals on defense and inbounding plays and fast breaks. Everything they did a lot better last night than I saw last year.
Very cool. All right. So we're penciling, we're putting you down for 5 wins for Wiscasset. That's where we're setting the line. Let's do the boys. Wiscasset boys last year, 11-8. They were plus 140, which was 36th best in the state. And if you had told me that 5 years ago, I would have wondered what happened and what big business moved in to Wiscasset to bring in all these extra people. They were ranked 80th in the state at my site, mainbasketballrankings.com. But like we said, they were down with these. They were relegated by the MPA, which is a thing that they are not currently doing. I don't know if it's coming back, but they were relegated down a class. Very controversial because some teams did quite well. Like Noble made it to a regional final 2 years in a row after being relegated. And the Biddeford girls were one play away from a state championship after being relegated. So that made everybody mad, and out went the relegation plan, hopefully to resurface at a later date. So what's the outlook for the Wiscasset boys?
It's bright. they looked really good last night. They beat Richmond 58-28.
Nice.
They came right out of the gate. It was 11-0
Okay.
in the opening minutes, and really good defense. And that's one thing that's been emphasized by Jamie Roy since he took over a couple of years ago. They work hard, and they definitely put a lot of pressure on Richmond. And their top scorer, number 22, I can't recall his name, but a pretty good ball player. But he was not having good field goal percentage.
So would you
was
say
forcing some hard shots?
it was cold outside, but Wiscasset came out hot?
They did.
So then feel free to use that for your headline for the paper on Thursday.
yeah, good one.
That's a free one.
And that is true. Tegan Marr, as advertised by Coach Roy, much improved player. He's grown a lot. I believe he's a junior this year. He just started to kind of get rolling at the end of last season, but he looked really good. He had, I think, 8 or 10 points just in the first half when I was there. And Spencer Pinkham also was putting up points. He probably had 8 or 10 as well. It was 28-7 at halftime.
Wow.
Yeah, and Tegan Marr and Pinkham had the majority of the points. Julian King had a couple. Landon Shirey, who you're familiar with, a great shooter when he gets on a roll. They didn't quite get him going in the first half, but his rebounding was excellent. And that's something that they need. And on the back end in particular, he pulled down at least 5 rebounds in the first half in the defensive end. Another kid, really impressive, Tyler Mank, a new young player for them that made an impact right away. He was really good on their soccer team too. Ben Gapsky, another player, young player, freshman or sophomore. I think he's a sophomore this year, actually. He had a nice game. He's got good size. He was good on the offensive boards. So they just played great. They were passing the ball well. They transitioned up the court. They look good.
Nice. And Richmond went 10. I just looked it up. Richmond went 10-9 last year in Class C.
Huh.
So, I mean, that's not a bad program. That's a game they probably
28. So it was pretty lopsided to Wiscasset.
That's probably a close loss for Wiscasset last year.
Yeah,
based on the
they did
rankings.
lose last year.
Did they?
Yeah,
Okay.
I was there. They lost by 1.
There you go. See,
they're-
I knew that just from looking at the rankings, and I was like, "Well, it would have been a close game."
I was at that game last year, and they had somebody get tossed at the end of or towards the end of the game, and that came back to haunt them a little bit.
Okay. All right. So 11-8 last year. What are we thinking? What do you think? How many wins?
Well, they were 11-7 regular season.
Right.
Let's go. I think they'll win at least 1 or 2 more, actually.
Okay.
I'm going to put them at 12.
I'll put you at 12.5.
Yeah, that's about right. Their schedule, I didn't look to see.
Your Vegas line.
They don't have Morris this year either on their schedule, so.
There you go.
I'm going 13.
You're going 13?
Yeah, I'm going 13.
You don't want to stick at 12.5 to hedge? All
no.
right. John will be so thrilled that we're bringing in gambling terms.
Nice.
All right, so let's move to Booth Bay. You want to do the boys or the girls?
Let's do the girls since they played last night.
Okay. We're recording this on Friday, as we said. And so there are games tonight. There's games Saturday. And then you will get to hear this on Monday morning in your podcast feed. Thanks to our good friend Tyler, who does all the editing.
Yeah. Last night they opened against Lisbon at Lisbon and won 54-33.
Okay. Lisbon has
I
been
believe they beat them twice last year.
Lisbon has been not good for a while.
Yeah. So that wasn't a surprising win. I think the 21-point spread perhaps is. Senior Tatum French, 26 points.
Wow.
And she is going to be a force this year. At the end of last year, she really was cranking at the end. 20, 30 points even in some games right at the end of last season.
Lisbon last year was outscored by 791 points on the season, which you might imagine
So they're about on average.
was
for
worst in the
pace.
state or nearly worst in the state.
Yeah. Well, it's
yeah,
good
no, it
to
was worse
see,
in the
but
state.
They feasted on them. I wasn't at that game, so I can't say I got my eyeballs on it, but I have.
You've seen them though.
I have, and they look good. And there's a freshman that I featured in my preseason write-up, Ariana Gray, and she had 9 points. Big, tall player, very assertive offensively. You know, you don't see that a lot in a freshman, but she's very confident and goes to the basket and can shoot 3-pointers for a larger forward type player. So she had 9 last night. Lily Brown, who's back from last year's team, she had 8, and I believe she's a freshman. Lily Cowing had 6, and I know Lily was a good field hockey player. I have seen her in practices on the basketball court, but I haven't seen her play yet, so can't speak to her. But I don't see Arabella Hodgson on the score sheet, and she's another really good ball handler, point guard for them this year.
All right, so last year they were 5-13. They were outscored by 337 points on the season, which was 31st in Class C. Rough season all around. Especially if you remember the heights of this program, winning, was it 3 straight state titles with the Blethens?
Yes. Yeah. They were like really tall.
Turns out when you lose the D1 kids, it goes badly.
Right.
Yeah.
But
who would have known?
Having said that, actually, not to make excuses for their last season, but they were missing 2 players, both tore their ACLs.
Right. Oh, that's right. Yeah.
One right in the last preseason game, Eleanor Irwin, who will be back in January. So I'm going to get to that in a second. And then, the other player was a really good soccer player. Can't remember her name, but anyway, she, was going to Gosselin.
Okay.
She was going to be their other leading scorer.
Will she be back or did she graduate?
No, she graduated.
Okay.
So, Eleanor Irwin was a really good middle school player. Freshman year, like I said, tore her ACL in the last preseason game. She can shoot. She's a great 3-point shooter. How much impact does missing a whole season make? Probably quite a bit.
It can't help.
But I think if they get her back, it just adds that like outside dimension.
But you know what they do though in the sports movie? What happens when you have that issue? You just have a basketball like all the time, and you're working on your shooting drills. You're laying in bed and you're doing the Pistol Pete shooting drills, or you're dribbling like while you've got like one arm under crutches and hobbling around. You're dribbling with the other hand, and then all of a sudden you come out and blow everyone away because you've been working on your fundamentals all year, while everybody else was messing around with their trick shots and their 3-pointers. You mastered the fundamentals and you just crush it in your return.
Funny you say that because the practice I was at, she was chomping at the bit watching everybody. And I was just interviewing her and talking with her on the sideline, and then she did start hobbling around and trying to play, and the coach was like, take a seat.
See, that's when you sit and you do the dribble drills. You just put the ball in one lane like that.
And she is that kind of kid. Devastating the injury last year. I think she's going to bounce back. She said she's going to be back probably around the new year for them on the court. So I don't know if that means practices or games, but that would boost them for sure.
Her and Jason Tatum coming back to save the day.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Sophie White's another senior that they have that'll contribute. She's pretty tall. So they have decent size, actually. So I'm going to say they're going to improve on that record.
Okay.
And I'm going to go with 8-10.
8 wins.
And a playoff berth this year.
8 wins. And
they did not make the playoffs last year.
All right. 8 wins in playoffs. All right, let's move.
It hinges on Irwin coming back and this Ariana Gray to continue her freshman year the way it's going so far.
All right, let's move over to the Booth Bay boys. Also 5-13 last year. They were outscored by only 109 points on the year, which is not bad for 5-13. That's pretty competitive.
They lost a lot of close games.
Yeah, they averaged 47 a game. They gave up 53.1 a game. Those were 23rd and 24th in Class C.
Then they did lose some good players. Tyson French, Adric Canada.
We should mention they also lost the what would you say, the stalwart of the program in IJ Pinkham, who passed away last year.
True. Yeah. After how many years that you coached?
Oh, forever.
Decades.
Oh, all of them.
Yeah. So,
Paula would know.
yeah.
But it's probably like 40 or something insane like that.
Well, I think they will do him proud this year because I do think they're going to build on that 5-13 record. I think they lost some heartbreakers last year. Didn't make the playoffs. They were just barely out of the playoffs, as it turns out. Just one place out. But Peyton Barter's back. He's their primary ball handler. He'll be a sophomore this year. He was their second leading scorer was Simeon Bates, and he's back. He's a senior. Good shooter inside and outside. Aggressive type player, so a physical player. And they got a couple tall guys. So,
Ooh.
Yeah.
How tall are we talking?
Harry Hinckley. He was listed as 6'6" on last year's roster.
Okay.
And there's a football lineman, Aiden Locke, who's playing this year. Looks good. He's big too. He's probably 6'4", 6'5".
Okay.
So
That's
the
some
two
size.
the two of them under the hoop, at least in preseason action that I saw, was pretty impressive. And
That's size for
Locke
B.
guy, yeah, he's built more like a linebacker than a lineman.
Okay.
Like he's not big burly like that. So he could move up and down the court. So
But he can also push you out of the way.
yeah, he and
Hated guarding guys like that.
whereas Hinckley's, he's a little long and lean, but between the two of them, they definitely controlled underneath the basket. So if Barter can knock down points from outside, they got a couple other players, Leslie White, Ethan Clark. They can shoot 3-pointers. So I think they're going to be a little better this year. They have good defense, and that's something that Coach Hallinan was definitely focused on heading into this season.
All right. So what do we got? So 5-13 last year. What do you got? What do you think?
I'm going to go 7-11.
7 and
And
11
playoffs.
And playoffs.
I think they're gonna scrap in there.
Okay, I'm gonna put you on the spot here. Who has more heel points, pure heel points, boys or girls for Boothbay?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I'll probably go with the girls on that.
Okay, more heels. That's gonna be on the bulletin board at Boothbay.
It will be close though. They're both about even in their improvement from last
Okay.
year, at least in what I see so far.
Okay, let's move on to the Lincoln Academy girls.
That's a big question mark.
Yeah, both Lincoln Academy teams are a big question mark. 9-11 last year. They're ranked 54th in the state at mainbasketballrankings.com. Shameless plug. They were, though, plus 83 in scoring differential. Plus 83 and a losing record is really interesting. They were 51st in the state in scoring differential and 16th in Class B. They were 8th in Class B in scoring. Not so much in the defense. They were 22nd in Class B in defense. And the big issue there is they lost their leading scorer and leading defender, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
She's one of the best defenders.
it's
I would
both
say,
both the
in
boy both
Class
the
B.
the girls teams we have to talk about have the same issue, I think.
Yes, but I do think that the boys.
I mean, the girls and
restocked.
the Madama
I
girls
gotcha.
and the Lincoln girls have the same issue. They have different issues, but their core issue, I believe, is the same.
Yes, it is. It's the Katana Merriam
Yeah, dilemma.
syndrome. So Merriam Delisle graduated from this Lincoln Academy girls team, by far the leading scorer. In fact,
And for
was-
the lacrosse team, the leading scorer for your
Yeah.
lacrosse team,
yeah,
which is looking for a new coach because Mick has too much work to do here. So
That's
if you
right.
love lacrosse or just like standing outside on a field and yelling at officials, they're looking for a lacrosse coach at Lincoln Academy. Sure. What could go wrong?
Great program, but good luck without Merriam playing. For
And you get to yell at the refs more from the sideline because
Oh.
they're closer.
Well, that's good.
They'll hear you better.
Cool, and I won't get any.
No,
won't
I
get
mean,
teed up either.
if you're a fan,
oh, I thought you meant me.
no,
this,
well, you
that coming
too.
season.
Well, you can't with a press pass. But if you're a fan and you're all the way back here,
Oh, yeah.
and you're yelling from the stands, they can't hear you. But if you're right on the sideline, they'll hear everything you say. So
do.
if you have lots of opinions on the officiating, get into coaching or get into becoming an official,
It's the best.
yeah.
For sure. So she averaged, Miriam averaged 17.2 per game
Wow.
KVAC last year. And that's a lot to replace. And unfortunately, they didn't quite restock with that caliber of a scorer. So
They didn't get in the portal.
no, and they also lost Izzy Bay, who was a really good freshman last year. I don't have her scoring stats in front of me, but she was definitely a factor on defense and offense. I think she wants to focus on lacrosse, which could be my fault for
You've
steering her
lured
away
her-
from basketball.
You lured her away from
But she was
basketball.
definitely a basketball prospect. So they're without her, but they do have.
So we should say on this podcast unequivocally that it is your fault.
Well, I always say basketball players make the best lacrosse players, and that appears to be the case. And I think I'm about to touch on another one that I understand is going to play girls lacrosse next year, and that's Bria Lafreniere.
Mm-hmm.
She missed all of last season, basketball season, with a broken leg or knee injury.
That sounds
from
right. It was a
soccer.
leg something.
It was like the last game of the soccer season,
Yeah.
so she missed all of basketball and most of softball, but her brother was a really good lacrosse player, so I understand she's finally going to join girls lacrosse this year, so that's
Okay.
good news for the lacrosse program. She'll have a good year. I don't think she's going to average 17 points a game, but maybe 7.
You know, they've got to do like Moneyball. You got to replace her in the aggregate.
Yes, and that will be their challenge. Lily Labrie is a player that can definitely put up points. She looked really good in preseason up at Spruce Mountain. So she is probably going to be their leading scorer, their go-to person. Really good player, good kid. She's a junior this year. The only senior on their roster is Maggie Thompson,
Okay.
who's back after missing most of last year, I believe.
She missed a bunch of last year. I know
Yeah,
that.
so she's a good floor leader for them. She did not play in the scrimmage I went to, and I didn't have a chance to ask her why or anything. So hopefully she's fine and we'll be back on the court because they definitely need that. If they don't have Maggie, they could have some issues. Other players to watch, juniors, Chloe Anderson, Rowan Coffin, Olivia Ball, another junior, had a good season last year. She looks good this year as well.
Coach's kid, right?
Coach's kid, smart player, good
Never bet against a
underneath
coach's
the
kid.
basket. Good leader as well. So they have some experience, but I just think in that conference,
It's going to be tougher.
It's gonna be
B
tougher.
South will be harder than it was last year by quite a bit because you've got the bottom third probably of Class A from last year.
yeah. I think again their schedule's probably similar, but when it comes time to
Probably
looking at
not
points.
because they're both in the KVAC and Madomic's schedule got considerably harder
okay.
because they added Coney and G and teams like that. So
Okay. Yeah, I'll have to scrutinize that a little bit.
if I can bring it up
offline.
on my phone.
A couple other freshmen real quick to point out. Anna Brackett looks good coming up from Bristol. And Dory Westhaver put in a lot of minutes at the guard position in the scrimmages that I went to. And she was a good player for also Bristol. Actually, a couple of Bristol kids moving up to the Eagles. So, yeah, they're going to have to really play good defense to stay in games and then manufacture some offense. They didn't score a ton of points at the scrimmage I went to. I believe it was 25-21 with them having
That is
20,
tough
21 points.
scoring.
But they're shorter games a little bit.
Right.
So
Okay.
it's kind of like 2/3 of a game. But, yeah, they were on a pace for 30 points.
I'm bringing up the Lincoln Academy boys schedule because it'll be very similar.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Leavitt, Morse, Cape, Oceanside, Madomic, Belfast. Gardner is new. Yarmouth, Mount View, Freeport. That could be a tough game.
Yeah.
Waterville is not going to be a tough game. And Erskine will be a very difficult game, and Winslow. So they don't add as much as some other schools did in the move over, mostly just Gardner. Because I think they played Erskine last year, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so they're really only adding Gardner. But Gardner's got like a 6'4" freshman
Is that
who can
right?
run the floor. Because, of course, they need another one. So, all right. So 9-11 last year. What are we putting on it?
So I think that means 8-10 regular season they were. I'm going to put 6-12.
6-12.
And part of that, again, hinges on Maggie Thompson.
Sure.
And if she's playing. If she's not, honestly, that puts them with probably a freshman ball handler. Maybe Lily Pinkham, who's a junior, but she also had a injury. I think she missed most of softball or soccer or something. So anyway, yeah, they have a tough rebuild process, but next year they'll be good. They only have one senior, like I said.
There you go.
So unfortunately, that's the mode that they're in right now, I think.
All right, let's move on to the team that has come up in. I've lost track of how many preseason podcasts I've been on, and this team has come up in most of them. The Lincoln Academy boys.
They're always punching above their weight.
Always,
in my opinion, anyway. They look tough again.
Well, you weren't here when they weren't, but
yeah. Oh, right. I guess
13-7 last year, plus 81 on the season. That's 8th best in Class B. They scored 55.8 points a game, also 8th best in Class B, and they were 14th in Class B in scoring. Defense ranked 30th in the state. Very pesky. So the problem is the Hunt twins are gone.
Yes.
Terry Welly is gone.
Yeah. They
really, you could just list the entire
seniors.
roster and they're all gone.
Yes. Basically, there's like 3 or 4 guys back. Yeah.
Right. And so what did you figure out? That it's 47 points from last year returning?
It was a little bit more than that, but not much.
Well, I've been quoting it on a bunch of podcasts, so we'll stick with 47
that's close. That might be what it is, because Herring, he got hurt after this first or second game.
Okay.
So he only had 5 or 10 in the whole season. He's going to be their number one.
So this is the thing that comes up a lot. We see it every year, and every year there's a team where they graduated everybody. Or they just graduated. The Noble Boys are the other team this year. There's a couple. Noble Boys graduated 2,000-point scorers, including Mr. Basketball. And spoiler alert, they're not going to win as many games as they did last year. Lincoln Academy graduated nearly all their scoring and minutes. And so you have to expect they're going to regress. And the question then with both of these programs is that regression 9-9? Is that regression 2-16? What is it? And I always like to say that my definition of the strength of a program is not how many gold balls they win, but how many games they win in their bad year. You know, what's the floor for them? The floor for Falmouth is 10 wins. The floor for Madomic is 10 wins. South Portland, 10 wins, something like that. And then, the floor for other teams is 1 win or fewer. So the case for Lincoln, and I've probably angered a lot of Lincoln people because I keep talking about this on podcasts, is we just don't know. And people can say all the time, oh, they went undefeated on the JV team. It's like, well, yeah, but that's the JV team. And they're playing other JV teams who, how good were those teams? And it's not varsity minutes.
Yeah, I think in this case, I'm going to go with a 9-9.
You're going 9-9.
Yeah, I
Bold
do think.
Statement.
And the reason being is that, yes, on paper, they look really inexperienced and they lost all the scoring. But then again, that's what everybody said about last year, and I probably did as well.
We did on this podcast. We said this thing, but they were returning things. They had the Hunt twins,
though. Yeah,
and I love watching the Hunt twins because they were
likewise.
One coach described them to me, or maybe it was a parent, as the 2 guys you absolutely hate until they're on your team, and then you love them.
Yeah,
because
I miss those guys.
Such pests and such a nightmare to play against. And they were, just so hard to defend because they got that twin thing where they know where each other are all the time. And, they were returning some real pieces last year.
It made it challenging for me to label the photos every week. They had different colored sneakers, brightly different.
You should be required to. Well, see, the thing is, you don't want to like do the thing where you have way different haircuts. Because what if you have to switch jerseys at halftime? Because one of you's in foul trouble or something.
Could be. Could be they were getting away with that.
You never
I wouldn't
know.
have known other than the shoes.
I wouldn't have known.
They were switching shoes.
They could be switching shoes, yeah.
But I do think Ryan Ball teams play a certain way. And from what I saw in the preseason, it's just like last year's team.
Okay.
They're hard to play against. If they can stick around, they do have scoring in Aiden Herring. Like I said, he was injured last year. It was a big blow to their team last year. He was predicted to be one of their top scorers. Definitely capable. Looks like his preseason numbers he's putting up are good. 13 points in this one game here I'm looking at. Chase Ober had 14 points in the scrimmage. So he's one of their bigger players that is back and scored some points, played some minutes last year.
He had some nice minutes last year.
Good rebounder. So he's a good player. As far as young players, Declan DeMoro, he was a guy that lit it up in middle school. Last year was a freshman. I think he played a little bit. He played on some of those undefeated JV teams, etc. I think he saw a little bit of varsity time, not much. But he looks like a good scorer. He attacks the basket. He's very aggressive. He's been putting up points in the preseason. Actually led them with 13 points against Winthrop. So Mike Mitchell's a senior. He put up 14 points in one of the scrimmages. Malachi Farron is back from last year. Didn't score much. He started to play at the end of the season. Last couple games, he put up some points, and he had 11 in this scrimmage. So if they can put up points, their defense is definitely there. And their transition game is good with Herring's really fast. So James Hanley's another guard that played some minutes for them last year. He's fast and quick. So they're a typical Ryan Ball team.
Sure.
They're going to be hard to play against. They're going to be in your face. So I think that they're going to surprise some teams.
All right. So 9-9 for Lincoln Academy. And let's go over to the Madomic girls. They're the other team with the Katana Miriam dilemma, where they were 14-6 last year, lost the heartbreaker in the semifinals to Oceanside that I'm still not over. I'm still upset about it. They should have won that game.
They're up by 8 points.
They were up by 8. They
Like
played
2 minutes
perfect
left.
defense on the last possession of regulation, and a miracle shot tied the game. We're not bitter. They were 14 and they finished 14-6. So that was 12-5, 13-5 in the regular season. Yeah, 13-5 in the regular season. They were plus 120 in scoring differential. That was 10th in Class B. They were 45.9 points a game. That was 11th in Class B. And they were
And
13th
Katana
in defense.
Putting up 20 points a game. Katania Williams.
Katana,
Who's now
Madomic's
at University of Maine, Farmington.
all-time leading scorer, Miss Basketball semifinalist,
1,000 points.
1,000 points. That's a lot. And
Ball handler.
ball handler, one of the best on-ball defenders in the state.
Yeah.
So no pressure. You've got to try to replace that. Who's going to replace? Because she replaced Alyssa Creamer, but that was a little more of a known thing because Katana was really good as a freshman, and that was Alyssa Creamer's senior year. So who is the Katana to Katana's Alyssa?
I think one of the dreams of who it would be is Jenna Davis, who's up from their middle school Riverhawks team.
Oh, a freshman.
A freshman. Not with the size Katana has, but a good shooter and ball handler. But yeah, a freshman. You know, is Jenna Davis going to be the solution?
This is the year of the freshman.
2 years from now? Yes, definitely. I do.
That's
You
what
know, as long
everyone's
as
saying.
she progresses the way that she is. Another candidate for that, you know, filling in that role would be Anna Reed.
She had some nice moments last year.
Definitely has her moments. scoring hasn't been there so far in the preseason, but preseason. I do think that she'll fill that role this year. She's not going to put up 20 points a game like Katana, but hopefully 10.
Not many people put up in girls basketball put up 20 points a game. That's an outlier.
Yeah,
for sure.
So that's the toughest thing. I do see that Sienna Lee is a sophomore this year, and she's probably going to fill some of that scoring gap.
She had a really good tournament. She was great in that Oceanside game, and I was impressed with her in volleyball.
Yeah, I was too.
Which I feel has to translate in some way.
It's helpful. I mean, she definitely had a really breakout season in volleyball.
She was really good around the net.
She did have an injury in volleyball, though, that is a minor concern. She, I believe, is wearing a knee brace in basketball as well. So, not sure. I don't have all the details on that, but we'll keep an eye on it. But she's definitely put up some points for them in the preseason. I believe she led the way in their scrimmage the other day.
I mean,
she had 16 points.
Oh.
Against MDI. They lost to Mount Desert Island.
I think the one advantage they do have is they're very big.
Yes.
Between Chloe Fox and Claudia Feely. Is Feely or Feeney?
Feely.
Feely. Okay, I thought I had it right. Then it sounded wrong in my head. Yeah, Chloe's 6'1". Chloe Fox is a fantastic rebounder when she's able to lock in.
Yeah, she was one of the leaders in the KVAC last year. Right. Chloe Fox.
She reminds me of a young Time Lord for the Celtics, which is always fun. Has a lot of energy and motor.
Yeah, and a lot of emotion out there. She plays with her heart on her sleeve, I guess is the
and usually part of her body on the floor.
Yeah. Second in rebounds per game last year in the KVAC.
Okay.
Chloe Fox 11.1.
So the thing is, they're not going to have a lot of games where they're going to face people bigger than their front court. So they might be able to just dominate people down low.
Yeah, they're listing. I didn't realize Alyssa Smith is 6 foot.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, Troy Smith's daughter.
Yeah, she is tall. I didn't realize she's that tall.
The old guard will remember Troy Smith's playing days.
And then that was before my time.
That was before. Then, it wasn't before your time, but you just weren't here for it.
Sienna Lee, who I was talking about, she's 5'8", so she has good size too.
So maybe is the formula B, because the Madomic girls team is traditionally good at pressing, forcing turnovers on the perimeter, and then just being dominant down low.
Yeah, and I think a lot's going to pivot on how some of these younger players come into the system. Another one is Rayanne Simmons, another freshman, good volleyball player. She's not big. She's 5'4".
She can jump.
Listed as, but she can jump. She's fast. She's quick, like you said, and she's aggressive.
I believe it.
On the press, I bet she'll do a good job. Jenna Davis is listed freshman at 5'3" guard. So she doesn't have the size, but she doesn't need to. If they have all these other bigs.
Yeah.
Another player I'll see a lot of times, Rachel Richardson. She's a senior now. She's 5'6", has good size. And Claudia, we touched on Claudia. They'll look to her to have a bigger year. I mean, she's definitely a factor, but she could be a bigger factor. Okay. I think she definitely has more to give this year. And
they'll need her to score more for sure.
Yeah. Yep. And she's a good rebounder, good overall player. Alyssa Smith, that'll be interesting to see. I know she was kind of a role player last year. Whether she steps into kind of a starting lineup leader as a senior will, that obviously will impact things as well.
If they could put all three of them on the floor, that's a big lineup.
That's averaging 6 foot. Yeah. And then if, Sienna's out there too, she's 5'8" and can really leap as well. So, yeah, good size. Lost a lot of scoring, but, in close games, defense wins.
All right, what are we putting down as here? 14-6 last year, so that was 13-5 in the regular season.
I don't think they'll quite match that. I'm going to go with 11-7.
11-7.
Yep, I do think a winning record.
All right. Moving on. Last team, the Madomic Valley Boys. 20-1 last year, lost in the regional final. Whole team was sick. Plus 540. They were. That's sometimes the most important thing to do in a tournament play is to not be sick and not have the flu because every year at some point during the year, your whole team's going to have the flu. And if you can get the flu during the last week of the regular season, that's a lot better than getting it during the tournament. Anyway,
but maybe York was sick too. You don't know.
You don't know. They might have been sick for the state game because they didn't play great in the state game.
True.
Plus 5.
Who won? Caribou?
Caribou won, yeah, pretty handily.
Yeah.
Plus 547. Bonamic did beat Caribou twice in the fall. I mentioned that. That's what I've been told. Plus 547 on the year. That was 5th best in the state, 1st in Class B. They averaged 64 points a game. That was 14th in the state. And they allowed 38 a game. That was 4th best in the state and the best in Class B. They were ranked 5th in the state at the end of the year, even after losing in the regional final. So some losses. Gabe Lash is
best defensive player in the state.
Mr. Basketball finalist. Rocco, big interior force. Rocco DePatsy. Christian Schumann, over playing at Maine Maritime Academy, won the free throw shooting contest.
And a pesky defender.
But we'll tell you how sick they were and that he missed clutch free throws in the regional final. And if that's not an indicator that someone is sick, I don't know what is.
Yeah, I remember that now, painfully.
I have them in... on my podcast, on the Maine Basketball Rankings podcast, we do a wins draft where we draft 7 teams around the state in different categories that we think will win the most games. I have them in the wins draft.
Oh,
they were my keeper from last year, and I
slightly more bullish than I am.
And I had 3 state champions on that I could have kept from the previous year, and I kept the Menominee Valley Boys, partly because I would not have heard the end of it if I didn't. But I also believe that they, along with York, are probably the co-favorites in B South.
Yeah, it does appear that way, and Coach DePatsy definitely threw some.
He wouldn't admit that, would he?
Respect to other schools, but
he's playing it down. Are you saying he's playing it down?
Yeah, he just kind of listed them in the middle of the mix with like
16?
6 different teams, which I don't think is the case. However, again, they're going to have some scoring step up from different places. And I think they will to some degree, but you might think they will more than maybe I'm comfortable with yet.
Sure.
But like I haven't seen Colin Donlan's a great player and a really good defender and rebounder, but I haven't seen him totally light it up on offense yet.
He was an all-star at the Coney League this summer.
And I did see some Coney League ball, and he did look good. So I think part of that is what your role is on a team, especially playing for someone like Nick that puts people in, roles.
Yeah.
In particular, and maybe
he looked pretty good in South Portland at the tip-off tourney.
Yeah, and shooting more, like taking more shots, and because that's the thing, he wasn't really getting a lot of the.
He was doing some dirty work.
The ball, yeah.
And the thing is, the game wasn't really in doubt because they just sort of overwhelmed Falmouth with their defense.
And last year with so many scorers like they had with Schumann and Lash and even Rocco, finding shots for Donlan, wasn't there.
Wasn't a priority.
Now it will be. Obviously, not only are they missing, 60% or more of their scoring, they're missing 60% of the people that took any of those shots. So So theoretically, as these people fill that,
I could see Donlan cleaning up a lot of offensive rebounds and getting a lot of putbacks, stuff like that.
Yeah.
That seems like a good role for him. The new kid from Camden can shoot lights out.
Yeah, Micah Fagande. Definitely.
Yeah, he hit
Fagande looks good.
3 threes, I think, against Falmouth.
Yeah.
Owen Dostie looks pretty good after a big football season.
Yeah, bigger, tougher.
And then Mason.
Yes, let's talk about Mason. Yeah, he just committed to the University of Maine at Farmington.
Someone told me he was one of the 5 best players in the state. And I'm not sure I believe that.
When he gets going, he does hit from a lot of different places.
Yeah. I mean, he can light it up. I like him a lot. I was like, 5th best player, one of the 5 best in the state. I don't know about that. But I'll be happy to be proven wrong.
Players than I do, but he definitely can. I like how he can score from a lot of different scenarios and places on the court. Like he can shoot 3-pointers. I think he had 21 last year in the KVAC listing here, which is top he's
Yeah.
on the list, and he's a good at attacking the basket, and he can even just pop and shoot.
So what we're going to have here is, and I'm just explaining to you how the internet works. We just talked about Lincoln Academy losing a lot and the difficulty of replacing that and the regression and everything, yada, yada, yada. And then we're talking about Madomic losing 60% of their scoring, and we're like, that'll be fine. So the difference there is that one of them is a proven commodity, and in Nick DePatsy's entire tenure at Madomic Valley, which started in, I believe, the 1800s, somewhere around there. He helped put up the first peach basket. No, seriously, it's been like 20 years, something like that. They have yet to win fewer than 10 games. They've had years where they graduated the entire starting lineup, and then the next year they won more than 10 games. So it's sort of...
Which is almost what they did here.
Yeah, they graduated 3, right?
Vishal Moore, he was
off the bench.
a 6 or a 7. But
Yeah, so I think they graduated 3 starters.
3 starters plus Vishal.
Yeah, so the floor for a team for Madomic traditionally has been like 11 wins, something like that. So with Mason Wen coming back, with Dosty, Donlin, Fagan, I'm gonna get that wrong so many times.
I'm not sure if it's Fagand or Fagande.
Fagande, okay. So there's a lot of pieces that are proven commodities and have had big moments at the varsity level, and so there's more confidence that they will be fine because it's just a next man up sort of situation.
I guess ball handler is one question I have.
Okay.
Losing Schumann. Mm-hmm. I always thought that Landon Starr was kind of in waiting.
Mm-hmm. Well, I have Luke Cheeseman still.
But I'm yet to see that. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how much. I assume Luke will step into that, but
I think he
I
started
didn't see the preseason
against
game.
Falmouth.
Yeah.
They looked really good in the preseason game against Falmouth.
So
Falmouth
that
has
was
lost
one
a
of
lot.
my question marks is who's going to fill in for Schumann in that
I think it's
role
probably
of
Cheeseman.
transitioning, bringing the ball up the court safely.
I think Mason's doing it more.
Smartly. Is he? Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. So, yeah, as long as they can fill that void.
They also beat Edward Little.
Yeah, who I heard is good.
Last night lost
yeah.
to Camden by 2 at the buzzer
Yeah.
in what sounded like an all-time classic for opening night
it
game.
did.
So, I mean, Edward Little's one of their projected top 4 in Class A North.
Yeah. Wow. And they beat them by 10 points, I
Something
think.
like that, yeah. But I think their point guard got
62-54.
I think
Madomic
they
beat Edward
lost.
Little.
Edward Little did lose someone in the game to they got ejected or something. They got I think they got a technical, and the coach sat them for lessons and stuff.
So one thing will be size.
Yeah,
I'm looking at this list here, and Donlin's 6'3",
he's got long arms too.
Gwen is 6'3". Landon Morrison is 6'4", and he's a junior now.
He was
up
playing
from
some-
JV. He
he
was
was
a
playing
swing
some
player
minutes.
last year, so he's another guy. Him and I think Landon Starr, if those two guys can emerge, and a guy I'm less familiar with that Nick DePatsy cited as a guy up from the JV team he thinks will make an impact is Carter Jackson.
Yeah, I heard.
Who's
Can I see the roster?
6 foot sophomore. I don't know him as well.
There was a name I saw or heard, and I was like, "Who's that?" And it might have been Taggart.
Yeah, there's the Taggart twins.
Okay,
I think one of them is up with the varsity this year or on the roster.
I think he played well.
Yeah, he had some good
In
minutes.
moments.
I think it was in the Coney Summit.
Yeah, they're missing the 6'6" kid, but they got 6'4", 6'3", bunch of those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
if anything, maybe a little bit on size. Because they did dominate under the basket with Rocco and Lash last year. So we'll
right.
see if they get pushed around a little. Maybe.
All right, 18-0 last year in the regular season. What do you think?
I'm going to go 14-4.
14-4.
Yeah.
That sounds fair. 14-4. How
I
deep?
think it's tough to match.
I'll put you on the spot. How deep do they get in the tournament? Is a rematch with York in the regional final?
I'm not going to go that far.
And then what we do is we send someone down there who's sick.
Yeah,
We send someone down there,
week before.
a super spreader sort of person. We just take a kindergartner from we take a couple kindergartners from GSB and from Miller or wherever, and we send them down into the York locker room under some guise of, you know,
Tour
like,
the locker room.
oh yeah, tour the locker room, something like that. They cough all over everybody, and then all of a
what it
sudden,
might take.
York's got the flu, and that's only fair. Because who's to say
Lucas
they didn't do
Bouchard
that?
in particular?
Yeah,
right?
Reese McDonald. I think
Yeah.
Bouchard graduated.
Oh, did he?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
he's a senior, but Reese McDonald is really good.
I gotcha. Okay.
All right, so
I thought the
14
other
and
kid was
4,
back.
and then Mick Biohazard.
I have him going at least to the second playoff.
So at least the semis.
Yeah.
Semis plus.
I think beyond that, they'll have to have some things fall into place.
I have heard B South is down this year. A little bit.
Okay.
And they are, most people think it's them and York and then a gap in whatever order you want to do them and York. All right, so let's wrap this up. Mixed picks for the season. You want to prove him wrong in some direction. Hopefully you want to do better than that. He's got, for the Wiscasset girls, 5 wins. For the Wiscasset boys, 13 wins. That's the second highest number you've got here, is the Wiscasset boys. For the Boothbay boys, 7 wins in the playoffs. For the Boothbay girls, 8 wins, the playoffs, and more heel points than the Boothbay boys. For the Lincoln Academy girls, 6 and 12. Lincoln Academy boys, 9 and 9. That would get them in the playoffs. Madomic Valley girls, 11 and 7. And for the Madomic Valley boys, 14 and 4, at least the semifinals. And we're going to send a bunch of sick kindergartners down to York to do some sort of site visit / bioterrorism.
Well, that's definitely something I just thought of as where they place, you know, as far as the seed is going to be important, not to get York earlier than
the regional final.
Yeah.
Yeah, to get either the 1 or the 2.
I think so.
Yeah. All right. So this has been a preview. Mick you can read all of his writings about high school basketball and all the other sports, which are not basketball, in the Lincoln County News every week. You can also read about the teams that are not in Lincoln County at mainbasketballrankings.com, where we cover everyone from Ashland to York and everywhere in between. That's part of the language on the website. So I'll scout out where we need to send the Biohazard kids to York if it comes up.
That's cool.
All
Sounds
right.
good.
All right. And then, thanks for listening to the show.
Thanks for listening.
Cue the outro.
Thank you for listening to Beyond the Broadsheet, a podcast by the Lincoln County News. This podcast is produced by Lucas McNelly and Maya Zewert. Tyler Davis of Tyality Productions provides production support. Our theme music is by Stu Mahan and LCN Associate Editor / Bassist Sherwood Olin. The Lincoln County News hits newsstands across the county every Wednesday afternoon. And you can also access our work online at lcnme.com. If you have a question, comment, or suggestion, please email us at info@lcnme.com. As always, we're grateful for the support of our readers and listeners in Lincoln County and beyond. It's been great catching up today, and we'll talk with you again soon.